Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to cross the Øresund to Copenhagen in Denmark once again. One of the best beer cities in the world in my opinion, and we're going to revisit a brewery who are very well respected over there, and you've seen me review numerous beers from this brewery before. For this one then we are going to go to Gørløse, if I'm pronouncing that right, up to the north of the city, which is of course home to Untappd, and we're having a look at another beer from the one and only Gamma Brewing Company. This particular beer is called the Bahookie, and it's an IPA coming in at 7% ABV. Going by the malt bill on this one, it is a New England IPA, which is standard for Gamma Brewing of course, but hopefully this turns out to be very nice. Whenever I go over to Denmark, this is one of the breweries that I always try to bring something back from. They've usually got, 2 or 3 new IPAs every month, so I always try to get something from these guys, and hopefully this is another very good beer. Actually, I think I've reviewed about 8 or 9 beers now from Gamma Brewing Company, and like I say, one of my favourite Danish craft breweries. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. This one was released, I believe, in at the start of May 2020. I bought this one through Glassbanken because the border over to Copenhagen is shut at the moment, unfortunately. So yeah, can't go out and get more beers, unfortunately, which is sad. So that's one of the reasons I did the Glassbanken order, was because I wanted some Danish beers sent over to me. But yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer. Let's see how we get on with it then. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Gamma Brewing Company before. No doubt you will see some more beyond this one in the fairly near future, because Gamma are releasing beers over here in Sweden quite regularly now. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to very regularly, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Gamma Brewing Company then. So Gamma Brewing Company, as I've told you before, was founded back in 2015 by 4 friends in Copenhagen who were bartenders in the various beer bars around the city, and they basically used to talk often about how it would be cool to have their own brewery, and little did they know they would soon get the chance to do that. So in the early days they took in another co-owner, so the team at the brewery is now Jakob, Anders, Jesper, Koi and Nick. So there's 5 of the guys there, but they all had a little bit of home brewing experience. 2 of them had worked in Ulsnedkeren in Copenhagen, who had actually were the ones that purchased the former Stronzo brewery in Gørløse, which is what became Untappd, and you've now got Dry and Bitter and of course Ulsnedkeren brewing their own things up there. But apparently they were invited to join Untappd, and they got a good deal on a 20 hectolitre tank, and so they started the brewery up without any experience of running a business, and I have to say it's gone very well for them. So they've expanded a good few times now. I think they've expanded maybe 3-4 times these days, but they're producing somewhere in the region of 500 hectolitres of beer per year, and exporting to England, to Scotland, Germany, the Netherlands, and of course they're sending their beers over here to Sweden. I'm not sure if they're, I think Riku told me they're not actually in Finland yet. He crosses the border and takes them across. He's a mule, like I've said before. I don't know if the Gammas are available in Norway actually, so if someone's watching in Norway, do let me know if they're available in Norway. And one of the co-owners of Gamma Brewing is also a co-owner of the May or Ulsnedkeren bar in Aarhus in Denmark as well. I do need to get over there and explore Øland a little bit, because I've only really seen Sjælland. I need to have a look at Fyn and Øland as well. I need to have a look at those. Those are supposed to be very beautiful parts of the world. But yeah, Untappd, as I mentioned to you earlier, is home to Ulsnedkeren, Gamma Brewing and Dry and Bitter, the 3 main breweries there. Ulsnedkeren brewed the Bad Seed beers under contract for a period while they got their own brewery up and running. If I remember right, that's somewhere up in the region of Aalborg on Øland now. And Ghost Brewing and Rooster Brewing also used to brew there as well, but they've since moved on to their own facility. But as of May 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, Gamma Brewing have produced in the region of 80 so different beers actually. So yeah, quite a prolific brewery this one when you consider their age, and as I said, they do tend to release 2 IPAs every month. I think this month they released a session IPA, this one, and I think there was also a sour beer that they released as well. So the next time I go over to Copenhagen, I will need to see about bringing back one of the Gamma sour beers. That's definitely something that I want to have on my list. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Gamma Brewing Company for the moment. That's all I'm able to tell you actually. I've done a bit more research on these guys to find more information, but there's not really all that much available. So yeah, that is Gamma Brewing Company. So yeah, if you want to learn more, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that these guys do. So yeah, let's get on and actually have the taste of this one then. So this beer, just to tell you the stats on it here before we do the tasting, this one, as I've mentioned to you already, is a 7.0 rather. Not 7.5, a 7% New England IPA. It's hopped with Cashmere, Mosaic and Hallertau Blanc. Cashmere, as we know, is that lovely American hop that gives you some really nice lemon, limey notes. It also gives you a little bit of melon. So it's a very, very interesting one. That's a popular favourite with the guys at Green Gold down in Slovenia. They've got some awesome beers, as you've been seeing on the channel recently. Mosaic is the classic, kind of the now classic, I should say, tangerine orange one, and Hallertau Blanc is one of the new high alpha acid hops coming from Germany. It's actually not too dissimilar to Nelson Sauvin, but I don't think it's quite as high in alpha acid. I think it actually sits around the 11% mark, whereas Nelson Sauvin I think goes away up to like 16% alpha acid or something, and the alpha acids of course are the ones that give you the big bitterness and things like that. So yeah, the malt base in this one is Golden Promise, malted oats, rolled oats, torrefied wheat, and also some dextrin malt, and then this one uses the LA3 yeast, and I'm not sure if the LA stands for Lallemand, but that would make sense, you know, a Vermont yeast being used in this one. But yeah, that's the specs of the beer. Let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. There you can have a look at the artwork. You can see it's another one of these kind of almost psychedelic-y type things. Actually, I really like the artwork on this. Bahookie, of course, for those of you who are not familiar, Bahookie is basically a word for arse. It's basically means literally your arse, your backside, your bum, whatever you want to call it, your buttocks. Yeah, so that is what Bahookie means. There is I'm sure there's a band from Dundee actually that are called the Big Bahookie or something like that. But yeah, this one, 7% New England IPA, Cashmere Mosaic, and Hallertau Blanc. I think this one will be really nice. Hallertau Blanc is a hop that I really, really like, but you don't actually see it all that often. So I think this beer is going to be really, really very interesting. I bought this one just because it was Gamma. I didn't know the hop bill before I actually bought this one. So you know, I was very excited when I saw this because it's not often you get a Hallertau Blanc, and Cashmere is quickly becoming a bit of a favourite of mine. So as soon as you open this up, I will say you do get the melons from the Cashmere, and you get the lovely kind of white, you know, the white grapey gooseberry notes from the Hallertau Blanc. So yeah, this is going to be good, and I think this is pretty. I think this one will be in really good condition. The aroma, this is ridiculous. I can smell it from here, but we need to look at that more closely in just a second. So yeah, as you can see with this one, pardon me, this one's poured quite a bright yellow colour there. It's not the kind of most pale yellow, it's actually more like a mango juice than a pineapple juice, this one. It really is leaning more towards the kind of richer end of the yellow part of the spectrum here, but that looks very, very nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see this beer does have a really good level of haziness to it. There's a solid 2/3 finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head. Actually quite a steady stream of bubbles going up towards the bottom of the head there, but I would say there's nothing overly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance when you consider what style it is. I think it is really pretty damn hazy for a 7% one, but then I think the Gamma beers have always been quite soupy and hazy like this, to be honest with you. The Gamma ones have always been quite thick in terms of their, what's the word I'm looking for, not their opacity, their viscosity, that's it. Still remembering my chemistry words, at least my degree, my master degree in chemistry was good for something. Describing beer, there we go. But yeah, parents would be very proud. But my dad likes beer, so he probably is. But yeah, so yeah, nice looking beer, this one. So yeah, nothing surprising about it. Let's take a look at the aroma then and see how we get on. I think this one is going to be a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you, but it smells very fresh. Yeah, this smells really nice. The Cashmere is really distinctive. Such a distinctive hop. The melon in there jumps out straight away. There is something that's interesting, and I was talking to Luca Roynick from Green Gold Brewing about this, because I had the feeling, and I noticed it with his cashmere, his hops, his beers where he uses cashmere. Cashmere really does some weird things with the yeast. It gives you this thing where it's really, it almost smells very, very farmhousey. It gives you this sort of woody, herbally type thing, and you notice that in this beer straight away. I'm pretty sure this is a different yeast that they're using, although come to think of it, the yeast actually in this smells very similar to what Green Gold Brewing had. So, but he was saying he reckons that you know, cashmere does something really weird with different yeast strains, because you really do get an element of farmhousiness out of this one, which is interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was the yeast, but this is something I've noticed. It seems to be a bit of, there must be a little bit of an antagonistic relationship of some description between cashmere and yeast, but I suspect that, I don't think Luca told me what type of yeast they were using, but I suspect it probably is some kind of Vermont yeast actually, because it's, you know, if this is a Lallemand, that is a Vermont yeast, and it's very similar. This, if you look at my review of Rocket Queen, I actually don't know if I've published that one yet. I'll need to publish that tomorrow maybe, but this one really reminds me of the Green Gold beers that I was reviewing actually. So yeah, this one, it really has, you can pick up some of the nice, let's focus on the malt base, you can pick up some of the nice kind of wheaty notes. To me there's a bit of bitiness to the wheat, you can smell the creaminess from the oats. There's two different kinds of oats in this one though. I think it was it malted oats and I think rolled oats that were in this one, so it's got two different types of oats. It's not surprising that it's got a nice little bit of creaminess. You can pick up a little bit of pale malt and you're getting a wee bit of a kind of biscuity type thing from the Golden Promise as well, but from the yeast and the cashmere, you really are getting some sort of woody element to this one. Definitely woody, little bit kind of, it's almost a little bit like coriander-y to some extent. There's a little bit of that kind of spicy, fluffy, farmhousey type note to this beer. You really get that kind of right at the back of your nose, so pay attention to that. But other than that, once your nose adjusts to it, I think that fades away a little bit and it does become more kind of creamy, and it becomes a bit more creamy and sort of sweet almost. The creaminess also starts to become a little bit sweet. The oaty notes that come out of this really start to become a little bit more sweet, which is really interesting. I like how this how the aroma of this beer goes together. This is really very, very nice actually. So thumbs up to Gamma Brewing Company for this one. I really like what they've done here. Yeah, so the malt base has pretty much everything you'd expect. On the hoppy side of things then, there's a wee touch of earthiness to this one. That'll be coming both from the Mosaic, which has a slightly stronger earthiness, and Hallertau Blanc. It's the same with Mandarin of Bavaria. Whatever hop you get from Germany, and however high alpha acid it is, you still get these kind of distinctive noble, grassy, floral notes out of it. They're just a bit stronger. So there is a little bit of earthiness, a bit of that softer, noble earthiness in there as well. Definitely a good bit of floral aromaticity. I think Cashmere's about 14. I know that Mosaic's about 14%, or if I remember rightly, Cashmere is like 12, 13, something like that. So yeah, and Hallertau Blanc I think is about 11. So yeah, there is a good little bit of floral aromaticity to this one. It's not too spicy, it's not too prominent, but you get a nice little bit of lighter grassiness in there as well. And the fruits in this are really interesting. It's definitely leaning towards that citrusy side of thing. You get the white grapes, you do get quite a bit of the lime out of this one as well, but I think the melons really dominate the aroma here. And again, it's the melon that seems to have that antagonistic relationship with the yeast, actually, that I was talking to Luca about. So that's a really interesting point about this beer. So definitely melons, definitely a good bit of lime. There is a wee bit of a lemony zestiness to it as well, but I like how all of this goes together. There's some really nice you know, tangerine-y, orangey notes coming out of this beer. So as well, you can smell that little bit of Mosaic just sitting underneath here. But the aroma of this is really nice. This gets a massive thumbs up from me. And this is quite unusual, I think, compared to the other Gamma beers, at least the ones that I've had. So I really like how this one goes together. So yeah, big thumbs up to Gamma Brewing for this one. They've done a good job of this. So yeah, take a bit of time and enjoy that aroma. Definitely a more kind of citrusy leaning New England IPA, this one in my mind. So yeah, I think this is going to be good. I don't know whether you consider melons to be citrusy or not, but yeah, they're very nice actually. You get a good bit of that gooseberry, white, green, grapey sort of thing as well. This beer I think is going to be is going to be awesome. We just need to see. So let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. This one is the Bahookie, a 7% New England IPA from Gamma Brewing in Gurlo, so just to the north of Copenhagen, over on Sjælland in Denmark. Let's get stuck into this one. Big shout out to Glassbanken once again for the beer, and we'll have a taste of this now. Slàinte, skål. That's really nice, actually. Yeah, I'm not surprised when it's a Gamma beer. You know, I mean, the thing with Gamma is you know you're going to get something good. You know that you're going to get a good beer out of these guys, and this one really does not disappoint at all. It's very, very smooth, this one. I think the other ones that I've had from Gamma recently have been a little bit more kind of crisp than this, from what I remember. So yeah, I think this one is definitely a little bit thicker than some of the other ones that I've had in recent times, but it really is very nice, and as I say, the flavours go together beautifully on this. So yeah, big thumbs up to Gamma Brewing from me on this one. I really like how this I like what this has in store for us. Yeah, let's try and break the flavour of this down. This is really nice. So yeah, the malt base on this one, basically the middle of your palate, you can feel it's just blanketed with that lovely kind of pale malty quality. So I really like how this one goes together. I mean, if you look at the middle third of your tongue, that does feel very kind of pale malty. In the centre of your palate, you've got a nice kind of sweet biscuity sort of thing. If you move towards the front kind of third of the tongue there, you do get a little bit of the kind of thicker oaty kind of creamy note, but as you move further back on the palate, you start to move into the more kind of wheaty side of things, which is nice. Yeah, so the kind of wheaty, yeah, the sort of nice kind of wheaty qualities that that come out of this beer towards the back of the palate, they're actually very, very smooth. I like that. It's, you know, it's very, very smooth. You do get the sort of farmhousey thing that I was picking up in the aroma doesn't come out all that much. You do get a little bit of it towards the back of the palate. There's a very light touch of a kind of slightly woody vibe to the beer, one or two little grainy notes, but the malt base for me is very straight up, and it really thickens up the further you go into the aftertaste as well. But I guess probably the dextrin malts are kind of smoothing it out a little bit. If I remember rightly, like, I'm going to be thinking of dextrose right enough, because that's a sugar. But yeah, no, it's dextrose and lactose were very popular in the kind of milkshake IPAs and things like that. But you know, the smoothness of the malt base in this beer, I think, is really nice. If I remember rightly, I don't think the other Gamma ones that I had dextrin malts in them. So that's the kind of, I think that's the altered variable in this one actually. But yeah, this is really, really very nicely done. Big thumbs up. The malt base in this is nice. You can feel, as you go further into the aftertaste with this one, you can just feel it sort of sweetening up. There is definitely a little bit of that McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. With this one, you know, you can really feel a little bit more, you can feel a little bit of that sort of biscuity malt kind of pushing its way out of this beer a little bit later on. So I really like the way that this all goes together. I mean, the malt base in this is really very, very nicely done actually. So yeah, big thumbs up to Gamma once again. There's not too much more to say about it, to be honest. It's just, it's what you'd expect from the style, but it's just really well crafted. So, you know, good stuff. Where this beer varies, of course, is on the fruity side of things. So let's focus on the kind of hoppy part of the beer. So back corners of the palate, you can pick up a little bit of that slightly darker earthiness from the Mosaic, but I think the earthiness from the Hallertau Blanc kind of balances it out a little bit, and it does feel quite nice and light and almost noble. But as you move further forward on the palate, it smooths out very, very quickly. As you reach towards the front corners of the palate, you've got some nice floral aromaticity to the beer there. You do get quite a bit of that on the beer. It's not overly spicy, this one, but it's just got a nice little bit of freshness to it, to be honest with you. So yeah, there's not a lot of bitterness to this beer in fairness actually, but round the very front curve of the palate it's definitely a little bit lighter and more grassy, and then behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. So if you go towards the back of that oily bubble there, it's definitely the melons, and you can kind of feel the melons just kind of creeping over into the into the sort of yeasty, the sort of the oaty, creamy part of the beer. So the front third of the tongue, as I always say, is the kind of fruity part of the palate, but then at the back of this, just behind that, you've got the oaty part of the middle third of your tongue. So you can feel there's a bit of interaction between the oats and the melons there, I think. But the melons, I think, dominate the back of the fruity part of the palate. But then as you come further forward, I think that's when you get the tangerine oranges almost right on the tip of the tongue, and round the edge of the palate you get those kind of white, green, grapey notes. It almost evolves, the flavour almost evolves to be a little bit kind of gooseberry-like. That's the Hallertau Blanc coming out there. But there is a sort of, it's almost like the tangerines are kind of mixed in with a bit of a limey flavour. I don't get too much lemon out of this one. For me there is definitely a little bit of a limey flavour to the beer though, but then again it's kind of mixing in with the white, greeny, grapey notes and some of the melony qualities that the beer has actually. So yeah, for me this is quite, it's the melons, it's the white, green grapes, it's the lime that's really coming out of this beer. But I tell you something, it definitely works very, very well in my mind. This is a really, really nicely crafted IPA, this one. Definitely leaning towards the kind of citrusy end of the spectrum, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that in my mind. So yeah, this beer, big thumbs up from me. I really like this. The Cashmere hop, as I say, it's quite a, it's definitely one that's worth looking at actually. It's not a hop that's too well known yet, but if you do get the chance to try with something with it in it, I think it works out really nicely. Like I said, one of my first encounters with it was with the Cashmere IPA from Green Gold Brewing in Slovenia, and that's a really, really nice beer actually. And of course in Slovenia they have the Styrian Wolf as well, which has lovely melon flavours too. So yeah, lots and lots of different, nice different Slovenian high alpha acid hops. So I'd love to see Gamma brew with Styrian Fox, Styrian Dragon, Styrian Wolf. It'd be cool to see them do a new Slovenian IPA. That would be an interesting one. So yeah, I really like how this goes together. Big thumbs up to Gamma Brewing. This is a bit different, I think, from the other IPAs that I've had from them before. Definitely a little bit more kind of citrusy leaning in my mind. So great stuff. But that's not unexpected from Gamma. In terms of the mouthfeel then, mid-bodied beer, carbonation's very, very smooth. I think this one, the more I drink of it, the more it becomes a little bit more oily. But I think I'm getting this one like in very, very good, I think I've got this in very, very good condition, to be honest with you. This is a very, very, it's in very, very good shape, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, this is pretty much bang on from Gamma Brewing. Not surprising again though. But yeah, as I say with this one, I'd say this is quite a mid-bodied beer. The carbonation's very, very smooth. It's overall the mouthfeel is quite smooth, and it is a little bit more creamy, I think, than some of the other ones I've had in recent times. But the further you get into the aftertaste with this, I think it becomes just a little touch more oily. On the hoppy side of things, I think we're only talking about 25 IBUs. This one feels very, very light and very smooth. The fruity side of the beer, I think, is very oily, and it's quite citrusy and a little bit of zestiness on the front part of the palate, as I said. And the malt base is quite smooth, but really nice, and it's got a little bit of sweetness to it as well. The sweetness, I think, builds a little bit the further you go into the aftertaste as well. But I have to say, hats off to Gamma Brewing for this one. I think they've pulled off something that is very, very nice here. So yeah, big thumbs up to Gamma Brewing for this one. The Bahookie New England IPA is 7% ABV. An unusual hop bill, Mosaic, Cashmere and Hallertau Blanc, but I'll tell you something, it really does work. So yeah, you've got the white grapey notes, the green grapey notes, the melony qualities, the lime, the tangerines. You've got everything you'd expect out of this beer. So yeah, try this one if you get the chance. I think this is probably one of my favourite Gamma IPAs that I've had, actually, come to think of it. So yeah, definitely worth checking out this one. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this review. This one is the Bahookie, a 7% New England IPA from Gamma Brewing in Gurløse, just to the north of Copenhagen on Zealand in Denmark. Awesome beer, and I recommend you try it. Slanja, Skull, catch you guys very soon. I'm sure we'll see Gamma on the channel again at some point very, very, very soon.